This is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We're on Xbox Series X. The game does feature HDR support, and it has the two Xbox One X enhancements being inherited with this release. So it does look really great and is generally an incredible experience. This is the third main entry in this rebooted series, which is kind of survival-ish. We get two options. We get high resolution, 4K at 30 FPS, or we get high frame rate, which is more like 1080 at 60 FPS, which obviously is a lot more fluid. I would have liked to also have had the enriched option from Rise of the Tomb Raider, which was a 4K 30 with improved visual elements, but you know what we get here is actually really great and presents two excellent options to play the game with. And since it's single player, kind of do whatever you want in that regard. I mean, do you want more fluidity? Go for that. Do you want a more gorgeous looking cinematic experience? Go that way. I usually pick to have the higher resolution, but you know what? Fluidity is also really awesome too as an option, which I think is generally just fantastic to have. So yeah, this is the third and conclusion in her, I guess you could say, origin trilogy. And I say that as in, yeah, there'll likely be more down the road. I actually was at the reveal party for this game in Montreal ahead of its announcement even, and that was sort of really exciting to witness and be a part of because I was like one of the first that actually got to play and see what this game was like. And yeah, anyways, like I was saying, basically they went over the fact that they'll do Tomb Raider 4, 5, 6, 7 as long as people are interested in checking the series out. So they'll very likely there'll be more down the road. Anyways, this was a great kind of conclusion and the showcase also of how she's sort of changed and become this more intense survival character over the years. The first one where she's very much just this new individual that doesn't understand a whole lot of how to survive, and then she just kind of is thrown into the action and needs to figure it out. In the second one where she becomes more confident and is more understanding in her battle against Trinity, and this one where she's really out on the prowl and I guess the attack in regards to being a tougher, more confident individual. And I think they did an excellent job with this one. I absolutely do love it. It's really great. So you get a very well done, mostly linear sort of main narrative. There are options in regards to sort of traveling through these open world hub areas, which are kind of fun. And I think they do a good job in providing that sort of option in regards to, how you want to go about doing it. Tons of collectibles, different things you can unlock by basically gathering collectibles, so you can decipher certain extra translations that helps build out the lore and the style of the environment in the world. I think they just did a really great job with this one. I really did love it, the scope of it, the action set pieces, and the way that it dives into who this character is. I think it was absolutely fantastic. And then on top of having these different, I guess you could say, missions and setups, you also have this selection of DLC content that adds challenges and a little bit of an online kind of thing going on too, and then extra narrative bits that actually round out the story and kind of go past the scope of the initial thing. And I think they're very important in order to understand the full setup of the actual world itself. And we're going to go to the camp market here because this is sort of a good test of the game. So when it initially released, the game was, again, quite stunning. It looked great. It played so well. I think this is a perfect conclusion to the trilogy. Keep in mind we're on the external drive going on to the internal, so it's a little bit faster, but at the same time not as fast as right off the internal. Anyways, it's kind of a slow loading game when you get to the different areas, but once you're loaded in, it's pretty snappy in regards to any sort of, I guess you could say, deaths and stuff like that. Anyways, like I was saying, this was a very interesting entry in the series in terms of just increasing the scope of it, adding all this extra content that allowed you to kind of keep on going afterwards. I thought it was, very well done, a very lively sort of world, and throwing Lara into this jungle type environment, I guess you could say. I thought that was really cool because it's more in line with the traditional entries. Oh wait, we want to go to the high resolution here to show off this kind of area in full detail. But yeah, we had some performance type, I guess you could say, screen tearing and stuff like that in the some of these heavier areas like this one. I think another camp that we'll show off afterwards. And now it just kind of has enough overhead where it's just flowing absolutely beautifully well. There's no issues at all. It looks absolutely stunning. Such a remarkable sort of situation in regards to the locations. Oh, I thought that was something I hadn't deciphered yet. And yeah, so many different, you know, side missions and things you can do in the world. It really is quite stunning. And we're going the other way because I'm trying to get to kind of a key marketplace area. But yeah, such a well done and heavily detailed sort of world. I really did love exploring this place, seeing what the story had to offer, and doing this very interesting sort of battle against, you know, the forces of Trinity as we go towards this concluding piece in her story, her origin tale. It was just very, very well done. You get to put the, it's an alpaca or the llama. I think it's an alpaca, but yeah, they're kind of gorgeous creatures and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just a neat, really heavily narrative-driven game, you know, with some extra challenges and things you can do, and, you know, characters you can meet. They did such a wonderful job with this one, and, you know, it really was cool to see it the whole way through, you know, being flown out by Square to go and see the game being revealed, and that was definitely a, I guess you could say, highlight career-wise. I guess it's a bit of a career at this point, and, yeah, it was just sort of a remarkable time, and then seeing the full release and being so happy with it, I was like, yes! Because I do really love this franchise, and I heavily suggest playing each of them. I particularly mention that you should start with Tomb Raider Definitive Edition and kind of go through each of them, and then go to Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then, you know, kind of finish off with Shadow here. It's just a much better, more cohesive sort of setup if you're able to experience this the whole way through. I think it makes for a much better time. Great, so here we are at this kind of main camp area, again with it running very smoothly now, which is absolutely excellent. I also wanted to showcase some of the other things you can do with the game that are kind of fun. So there's lots of like crafting elements in it, finding supplies, that survival element, improving your different weapons. And then we've also got these really cool like different outfits you can get, which are kind of fun to play around with. You get some through the DLC, some are unlocks. I think I have all of them in the game. Pretty sure. Oh, that survival one is so cool. Yeah, that's her, like, all beat up and stuff in the first game, but they do offer a lot of different options in regards to changing up your character and stuff, and it's just kind of like a fun little thing, because I know people like their Lara Croft outfits, that's for sure. A little leather jacket, always a cool look for her. I really like that one. But yeah, it's just kind of fun to show off, and then also they get into a little bit of, like, the hilarity with it, too. You know, you get that classic look in with the polygons. And then you get some DLC ones, and they kind of grant little bonuses, and there's like upper body things you can change to in regards to, you know, sort of switching up how she is. I think I want to go with the, not Commando, but like the Henley. I think that's kind of the gray Henley. That one's kind of our cool look. I like that. And yeah, with that, there also is a great photographer mode that you can kind of play around with. I think it's absolutely hilarious in regards to what you can do with this one. So also like looking at the character model and stuff like that, like the level of detail here is just absolutely stunning. I think they did a really amazing job with the quality of like the world and the character in general. But yeah, you could do fun things. So you could do like poses, so we could get like all these different like sort of looks going on here. I don't know, it's just kind of like a funny little thing to show off, just an extra little detail that they allow for you to really kind of take in the world, I guess, to a different degree. And then you get like the poses and stuff, which are kind of funny. It's just sort of like, it's weird, right, to have this option, but also kind of just a lot of fun. And I'm seeing more and more games kind of support having, you know, the photographer thing. I think it's a nice little touch just to let you really see what the world has to do. And then we get Lara Croft. Lara Croft's absolutely hilarious. But yeah, that's just kind of the photographer mode, so you can quickly see that. But yeah, moving through this town, smooth, looks good. Again, you know, lots of side things you can do. A main quest that actually is pretty lengthy. It completes her story quite well. And wow, the visual fidelity and the quality, the way the visuals just kind of pop here is absolutely stunning. I love the look of this game. I think they nailed it, whether you're moving through these like town areas or going into like tense jungles locations. They absolutely hit the mark in every detail and every regard. And you know, those action set pieces, the way that it kind of moves between like cinematic movements and moments and, you know, sort of actual gameplay. Oh yeah, and the dirt deformation. Actually, the Rise of the Tomb Raider had amazing snow deformation for its time. It was really quite impressive. But yeah, there's lots of different creatures, lots of different experiences to have. I think there's a thing for blowing up these barrels, some kind of like challenge thing you could do, yeah. And then you just get like these sort of experiences where you can go and you can hunt, and I got lots of different like weapons, and you kind of like level up your different stuff. Obviously we talked about the upgrades, but I've got a pretty strong collection of like weapons, at least I think so, in regards to my setup here. But yeah, such a beautiful, well done game that offers such unique locations and challenges the whole way through, and different enemies you have to battle, and challenge tunes. And I think it's one that you could just kind of play for a very, very long time if you really want to try to get the full scope of what this has to offer. So many unique parkour challenges, puzzles that give you a bit of a challenge but don't make you sit there too long, which is nice. They kind of flow well, just make you think a little bit is mostly what they're about. But you get like such gorgeous locations, such a great look at this iconic character as you visit these intense spots, and it's such a worthwhile time. I really do think this is such a well done and well deserving experience for your time, and the whole trilogy in general is just absolutely fantastic. I really did love it. I think they did such a good job with this one, particularly pushing the technology and the style and the scope of it. It's really great, and I do really hope that you give this one a whirl because I think it's fantastic.